What is up, everybody, and welcome back to your favorite place to talk movies. I'm your host, Luce, and this is Real Talk Off Script. So, we are back today with a new episode, but before we start, I just want to remind you guys that we do have a segment on our show where I answer you guys' movie related questions. If you have anything that you would like for me to take some time to talk about when it comes to film, whether it's movies to look forward to, a hot take you may have, or a personal movie question for me, feel free to leave a comment down below. And if I feel like it'll be a good discussion, or we can have a good conversation about it, I might just answer it in one of the next videos. All right, so with that out of the way, I do want to let you guys know that just give you a quick rundown of how today's show is going to go. We're going to first get into one topic that I have, and I know I just said we're going to do a question of the day, but I might push that off to the next episode because the one topic that we have today may take a little while. It really just depends on how long it takes for me to get through it, whether I do the question of the day or not. But like I said, I only have one topic today, and let's get into it. So, if y'all tuned into my first episode where I correctly predicted Project Hail Mary would make north of $80 million opening weekend, after the numbers came in, it kind of got me thinking. I was like, with Project Hail Mary overperforming, because I think it was actually originally projected to only make $50 to $60 million domestic opening weekend, and it, like I said, made north of $80 million, like I predicted correctly. But anyway, yeah, it got me thinking. I'm like, is there a possibility that 2026 will be the highest grossing year in box office history? I don't know, but I do have a couple of thoughts, and I do got a couple of things I want to get into as to why I think 2026 does have a possibility to be the highest grossing movie year in box office history. I'm sorry, excuse me. But yeah, so you're probably asking, loose, why is box office earnings even important in the first place? Well, let me break it down for you. Watching the box office is important because if you it gives you a clear idea of what patterns may be or paths studios may take um, moving forward. So I don't know if you guys remember or are old enough when these came out. I definitely was. I was alive and kicking. But when the original Lord of the Rings trilogy and the Harry Potter films were originally coming about back in the early 2000s, they essentially made a shit ton of money. A shit ton of money. So guess what happened after that? A lot of studios essentially opened the floodgates, and we got so many, fantasy book to film adaptations afterwards, like Aragon, Bridge of Terabithia, the Chronicles of Narnia movies, etc., etc. So were all those movies successful? Hell no, but that didn't stop the studios from and the studio heads from releasing them and pushing them out and getting them out to the public because they were essentially trying to recreate the same hype that the Lord of the Rings and the Harry Potter movies made. Or, you know what? I can give you guys another example. Do y'all remember back during COVID when Popeyes released that fucking chicken sandwich? It was amazing. Don't get me wrong. I loved it myself. But do y'all remember when those chicken sandwiches came out and every single restaurant released their own chicken sandwich afterwards? Do you think that's a coincidence? No. Every medium, every product, everybody is essentially trying to replicate what another company's success will be, but they're in their own way. Hollywood is no different. The movie studio business is no different at all. So with all that down, I'm gonna bring it back into the topic that we're gonna talk about today, and that is there a possibility that 2026 will be the highest grossing year in box office history? So, like I said, I looked it up, I did some research, and I actually found out that 2019, which ironically enough was a year right before COVID, was the highest grossing year of all time. So let me just go over some of the top films that came out. I'm sure you guys probably seen some of these, but I'll just go down and then give you guys the numbers on, exactly why that year was so big for Hollywood. So the number one grossing movie that year, if you guys remember, was Avengers Endgame, which literally almost made $3 billion. It was a little off, but it was close. It made literally $2.7 billion. So that's number one. Right after that, you had the Lion King remake, which I didn't even see. I literally saw them do what's the song? Lion King song? Be Prepared by Scar, which is like my favorite Disney song of all time. They fucking ruined it. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. The Lion King was second, and that one made 1.6 billion. I'm sure you guys saw that. Right after that, in third place was Frozen 2, which I also didn't see. I'm not a fan of the Frozen movies, but it is what it is. That one made 1.4 billion. Right after that was Spider-Man: Far From Home, which I did see, 1.1 billion. After that was Captain Marvel, then Joker, Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, sorry, Toy Story 4, and Aladdin. And now I'm looking at this list. If you guys see a pattern here, a lot of these were Disney movies or Disney Studios movies, so they was raking it the fuck in 2019. But yeah, so and those are just the top movies as far as earnings and grossing went that year. That doesn't even count all the other ones that I didn't put on the list. So as you can see, with all those movies, and that's the first time any year that they had 9 films make at least $1 billion. So when I started to look at the release schedule of this year, and like I said earlier, Project Hail Mary already is overperforming. This weekend will be the second weekend. I'm only expecting personally maybe a 40 to 50% drop off from last weekend. Usually 50 to 60 you're doing pretty good, or 60 is like shaky. Anything over 60% drop off from a opening weekend is going to be pretty bad. I'm predicting maybe even 30 to 40. Now I'm thinking about it, a 30 to 40% drop off, because the word of mouth is so good with Project Hail Mary right now. So that movie is already starting off 2026 with a bang. So that might be, I don't think it's going to make $1 billion. Don't get me wrong. I don't think it's going to reach $1 billion, but it's obviously doing really good right now. So I just wanted to go down a list of all the other movies that are coming out that I actually do think have a very good chance of making $1 billion this year and driving that overall gross of the year up higher, higher, higher. So I'm going to go over the list that I put in, and then I'll go back through the list and kind of give you some bullet points of why I think, whatever will make however much. So started off, Avengers Doomsday, I for sure think is going to make $1 billion. It might even make two. Spider-Man Brand New Day, clock it. That one is for sure making $1 billion. Super Mario Galaxy, it's a little shaky. It's a little iffy, but the first one did make $1.3 billion. So we can't disregard that. This one may make $1 billion as well. Okay, after that, you got the Odyssey, you have Dune 3, you have Toy Story 5, Michael, and believe it or not, I think The Devil Wears Prada 2 has a very high chance of making $1 billion as well. So let me go down that list again and kind of give you a couple more bullet points as to why I think these movies may make $1 billion. So Avengers Doomsday, like I said, is at the top of the list. I think that's going to be the highest grossing movie of this year. I don't think it's going to be that close, but it's for sure going to be the highest grossing movie of this year. And I'm thinking that because, like I said, when I went over the list of 2019, Avengers Endgame almost made $3 billion fucking dollars. Like it did. And we haven't had a Avengers movie since 2019. It's been a long time. And I know Disney is kind of, what I want to say Disney, the MCU, well, Disney and the MCU, it is what it is. So the Disney and MCU Marvel movies, they haven't been doing the greatest as far as critically. They honestly haven't been doing the best as far as box office earnings as well. Last year we had Fantastic Four, underperformed a little bit. You had the Thunderbolts. Nobody really thought that was going to make that much money, and I think it made around $300 million maybe. And then you had Captain America, is it Brave New World? I think it was Brave New World or Brave New Era, one of the two. That one also underperformed a little bit. As far as when you look at the budget, that was, I think it had like a fucking $300 to $400 million budget, so it's going to be hard for you to make that money back. So that one underperformed as well. But none of those are Avengers movies. I don't think there's no think in it. There's never been anything close to an Avengers flop. This is not going to be one of them. The hype around this movie is absolutely through the fucking roof. We all going to go see it. I'm not even going to sit up here and act like that's going to be a movie that could potentially only make, 1.4 or underperform like the most recent Avatar movie did, even though I really loved it. But yeah, that one is for sure going to make $2 billion. I'm not even finna question it. If y'all want to, y'all can bookmark this and come back to it after the movie is out of the theaters later this year. Bruh, it's going to make $2 billion. So let's just keep going down the list. So right after that, we have Spider-Man Brand New Day. Now, if you think about it, the last Spider-Man movie, which was Spider-Man No Way Home, that one made, let me go back, Spider-Man No Way Home. Give me just a second because I want to make sure I get this one right. So that one made $1.9 billion. I actually forgot this one made that much money. So that one was almost a $2 billion film. In itself, it's just a Spider-Man movie. So if you add that on to why I think this year may be the highest grossing year of all time, you have, for one, an Avengers Doomsday movie that I already feel like is a lock to make $2 billion. You have Spider-Man Brand New Day, which almost made $2 billion on the last film alone. This one, which might I add, I don't know if you guys know or not, but the most recent Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer is actually the most, it just broke a record. It's the most watched trailer of all time. Let me say that one more time. That is the most watched trailer of any film ever in movie history. So yeah, if the last one made almost $2 billion, this one is going to be up there as well. So that's going to be two hefty movies adding on to the box office earnings overall this year. So moving on, next down the list, you got Super Mario Galaxy. Like I said earlier, I know that one may sound a little crazy, but the last one did make 1.3 billion. You got to think there's no other, and I think this movie actually comes out today is, what's today's date? Today's date is March 26th. This one comes out April 1st. So you can probably see it early March 31st. I think that's next Tuesday, I believe, when I'm recording this. Today is a Thursday. But excuse me. But yeah, the last one made 1.3 billion. There's no other children's movie out right now other than Hoppers. And Hoppers is on its third or fourth week. Probably be on its fourth or fifth going into next week. So that one is going to drop off. There's nothing else in the theater to compete with it as far as children's movie. And the original one, kind of the same thing. That's why it made so much money. And this one is going to be pretty much the same. I'm not predicting that this one is going to make 1.3. I think if it doesn't hit $1 billion, it probably just shy of $1 billion. I'm predicting at least 800 million for Super Mario Galaxy. That's me. So like I said, when you have Avengers Doomsday, Spider-Man Brand New Day, and then Super Mario Galaxy, we already looking at $5-6 billion alone. Okay, so moving down the list, now we have The Odyssey. The Odyssey is a little tricky, but I put this on the list because the last Christopher Nolan movie was an event. Yes, we had Barbie and the whole Barbenheimer thing to go along with it, which added to the box office. But I think with that alone, all the hype that Oppenheimer had, whether Barbie released alongside it or not, I feel like with the Odyssey coming out, not the Odyssey. I feel like with Oppenheimer coming out and all that hype around it is just going to add into all the hype for the Odyssey. Like I said on either the last episode or the first episode, they released the IMAX seating and tickets literally last calendar year. Not this year. Literally 2025, they released the tickets for a movie that doesn't come out until July of this year, and they literally sold out almost fucking instantly. I couldn't even get my hands on one. So if you don't think that the hype for this movie is going to be through the roof, just like Spider-Man Brand New Day and Doomsday is, you got to be sniffing some good dope. Show me your dope, man, because I might need some myself. You got some good shit. This movie is going to make a lot of money. Is it going to make $1 billion? I'm not ready to go ahead and put it as a lock for that. And I don't want to make everything just like, if it doesn't make $1 billion, then it's not important. I'm only saying these movies are going to be $1 billion movies because this is a list that I have to compare to 2019. And if I'm making my statement that these movies could possibly make it so we have more than just $9 billion movies, 9 separate, at least $1 billion movies, I have to go off the fact that I think these may make $1 billion or more, or at least come close to it. I think the Odyssey for sure is going to be close to that. I'm thinking maybe 900 million, kind of like Oppenheimer did. All right, so moving on from Oppenheimer, we got Dune 3. So Dune 3 made a shit ton of money, do not get me wrong, but it wasn't really close to $1 billion. It made 714 million, which is obviously still a shit ton of money. But when you think about it, like I just said on the last movie, which is the Odyssey, and I went into the Oppenheimer thing, the Oppenheimer and Barbie Barbenheimer thing, Dune 3 is releasing with Avengers Doomsday. So if you just think about it just from a not revisionist history, but if you think about it from a historical standpoint, Barbenheimer was a thing. Both of those movies helped the other make the amount of money that the other one made. So Barbie, I think, did make over $1 billion. Oppenheimer made 900 million. If you put them out separately, I don't think either one of those make as much, but when you put them together and all the hype around it, it was a cultural phenomenon. It was a big thing. You know, some people would literally dress up half Barbie themed and half Oppenheimer themed, like half of their body is a suit and the other half is like some pink or some crazy shit like that. what the fuck y'all think they gonna do when Dune 3 and Avengers Doomsday comes out? It's gonna be that, but on 10, because everybody loves all these series. It's not just women for Barbie, even though I saw it. I loved it. I ain't gonna hold you. I went with my girl, and it was real good. But it's not just a woman, honed in thing compared to Barbie, and then Oppenheimer could just be a man thing, or whatever the case may be. We got Dune. I'm sorry. The Doomsday thing is kind of throwing me off. The Doomsday, whatever the fuck is throwing me off. But you got Dune, which everybody loves. You have Avengers, which everybody loves Marvel. If y'all don't think that these two movies are gonna come together and make the other earn way more than they already would have made, bro, once again you gotta be sniffing some good dope, bro. It just is what it is. Dune 3, even though the last one made $714 million, I feel like this one releasing it alongside Avengers is gonna drive it way, 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 way up. That's just my opinion. So I'm thinking this one might be the first movie in the Dune series, with it being the quote unquote epic conclusion on top of that. It's probably going to be the first one in the series to make $1 billion. So that's Dune 3. Now, moving on to the next one. We got Toy Story 5. Come on, bro. Like, who does not love Toy Story? I know I do. I grew up, I wanted to be on Star Command with Buzz Lightyear. I used to have a costume run around the house. You couldn't tell me I wasn't Buzz Lightyear, and I'm black. It is what it is. You couldn't tell me I look in the mirror and I ain't see Buzz. It is what it is. We all love Toy Story. And to be completely honest, I didn't look up the numbers for Toy Story 3, but I know for sure the last Toy Story 4 movie made $1 billion. I think that one was $1,073,000,000, something like that. Yeah, I think it was $1 billion. Let me make sure. Yeah. So the last one made $1,073,000,000. Like I said, it's Toy Story. This one is for sure a lock. I don't even think I need to go down all the reason as to why. Is Pixar. This is the most popular Pixar IP that they have, intellectual property, for those who may not know what IP mean. It's gonna make $1 billion. So you can go ahead and add this to the list of what's gonna bump this year up to what I think may be the highest grossing year of all time. So moving on from Toy Story 5, we have Michael. So I think in the last episode as well, I went on to explain that I feel like Michael is going to be the biggest musical biopic to ever release in theaters. That's just me. You got the old heads, which is no shade. My parents and people that were literally older than them, their parents, they loved Michael Jackson. My parents loved Michael Jackson. They pushed that love onto me. I love Michael Jackson. And I think a lot of kids today who didn't even get to see him when he was alive, like I explained last time, excuse me, they're going to be interested too. So you got multiple generations coming to see this movie and just to see if they can pull it off. I mean, I don't even think, just out of all the musical biopics that I could think of, I can't even think of any musical act that was anywhere close to Michael Jackson's stature as far as making a movie about him. Like, I really don't think it's came close to this. So even if you weren't a fan of Michael Jackson, I feel like people would be curious just to see if they can pull it off. That's just me. So yeah, I feel like that one is for sure gonna make $1 billion. Just when you add in the music, you add in the history, you add in all the turmoil that went on in his life when he was alive. I just feel like it's gonna be an interesting thing, and everybody's gonna want to go see it. It's gonna be an event. So moving on from Michael, we have the last movie that I have on the list. Right after that, I'm gonna get into some honorable mentions of movies that may make close to $1 billion or just make a shit ton of money and add on to that total sum. So the last one, don't look at me crazy. Don't think I'm crazy, but I think The Devil Wears Prada 2 is a heavy fucking sleeper to make $1 billion this year. Let me explain to you why. Okay, I had never seen The Devil Wears Prada until literally this past weekend. My fiance, she sat me down. She said, "Luce, you love fashion. I love fashion. You love movies. I love movies. You wombo, I wombo." For y'all, if you know, you know. But yeah, she sat me down. She made me watch the movie. I was like, okay, I'll check it out. I ain't against the chick flick. I don't mind. It is what it is. I love film. I'll watch anything. And I loved the movie. I loved it. Like, I literally kept telling her throughout the day, like, babe, The Devil Wears Prada kind of hit. I ain't gonna hold you. I'm excited to see the new one. So that's just me. And then with, earlier I said that, Spider-Man Brand New Day broke the record of the, biggest, or I should say most watched trailer of all time. The Devil Wears Prada 2 had a similar record as well. Not all time, but for all time for 20th Century Studios. So that one that one had 222 million views in 24 hours for that trailer. And that's the Devil Wears Prada too. So if that movie is breaking records, trust me, it's a lot of women who were. I think the first one came out in 2006 when we looked it up. The first one came out in 2006, so you could imagine that all the women that went out to see that one, which was it did pretty good for when it originally came out. I don't know what the budget was, but that one made $340 million or something like that, and that was '06. So all the women that went to go see that movie and flocked to go see it when it first came out, they probably have daughters of their own now, so they're probably gonna bring them to the theater and show them the movie. And I'm pretty sure if this one is anywhere close to being as good as the first one was, it's gonna make a shit ton of money. This one is breaking records just off the trailer alone. That's how many people watched it. So if you kind of do the math and what the average movie ticket is like $11 or something like that. So if just half the amount of people that just watched the trailer go out and actually go see the movie, do the math. It's gonna be a shit ton of money. So that's the last one that I think is almost a lock for sure to make $1 billion. So I do have a decent amount of honorable mentions, and I'll get into those as well. So some of y'all may or may not know, but there is a live action Moana movie coming out this year. We did have, I think it was Moana 2. What was that, last year or the year before or something? I know it was recent. But the Moana movies make a good deal of money. So with this one being live action and Disney usually makes a decent amount of money on their live action remakes for whatever the case. I usually don't like them, but it is what it is. I think people will flock to go see this and take their kids. You know, fans of the original Moana. And even though The Rock got on that weird ass wig for whatever reason, I don't know how to. Side note, why the fuck did they put him in that wig? Have y'all seen that? Like, go look it up. Just go Google The Rock, The Rock bad wig in the Moana live action movie, and look at that shit. Why would they put him? Why did they put that out there and think we wasn't gonna clown him for that? But it is what it is. People gonna go see that movie regardless. That's one. So now you got Scary Movie coming out. Do I think Scary Movie's gonna make $1 billion? Fuck no. No, I don't. But I think a lot of people are gonna flock to it. But for those who don't know, Scary Movie also comes out the very same day as Masters of the Universe, the He-Man movie that I told you guys about in the last episode. Those are also coming out on the same day. So I don't think it's going to be as big as a Barbenheimer thing or as big as Doomsday this year. But I do think, like I said, you got one movie coming out that a lot of people are hyped for with Scary Movie. You got another movie that a lot of nerds like me are hyped for that's coming out the same day. And I love the Masters of the Universe franchise, the IP. I grew up watching He-Man. I had the Castle Grayskull toy, the whole play set when I was a kid. I used to love He-Man. I love Scary Movie coming up too. So guess who's going to go see it the same day? Both of them. Me. And I'm not alone. So that's another two movies that you can add to this whole lump sum of box office movies, high earners that are coming out this year. So after those two, you have Disclosure Day. Why do I always want to say Spike Lee? Like, they're nowhere near the same. Steven Spielberg. Steven Spielberg's Disclosure Day is coming out later this year. I do not think this one is going to come close to $1 billion. I'm going to come out and just say it now. I'm not going to bury the lead on that one. I don't think it's going to come close to making $1 billion, but I do think this one is going to make $500 to $600 million. That's just me. Even though I know I may be biased because, you know, I love aliens and UFOs and abduction and all that shit. I know I'm very interested in it, and everybody in the movie circle just are very hyped for this. Like, from what I'm hearing, like, when they shot the movie, a lot of the stuff was kept under wraps. You know, the people in the town that they actually shot the movie in had no idea what they were doing. Like, they kept the shit so under wraps that nobody would even know what they were there for. So there's a lot of buzz around this movie in the movie circles, and just movie entertainment as it is, and it's making me more and more excited for this movie every day. Like, I'm counting the days for this one too, and I think it's gonna do good. I don't think it's gonna do crazy and make an ass ton of money, but I think it's gonna do very good at the box office. So after Disclosure Day, I'm gonna keep coming down the list of honorable mentions. Then we got Supergirl. Superman came out last year, and I think that one made $600 million. This is Supergirl. I know people aren't as familiar with her as they are with Clark Kent, Kal-El, Superman, but it is another DC movie, and all the DC movies as of late and television shows, well, not television, but streaming shows, should I say, on like HBO Max and everything, they've been doing amazing. Like, the content has been amazing from DC right now. So I think Supergirl is going to do pretty good too. I'm thinking somewhere in the same ballpark as Disclosure Day. I don't think it's going to be $1 billion movie at all. But I'm thinking the same ballpark as Disclosure Day, around 400 to 500 million, 600 on a good day. And that's for Supergirl. So moving on from Supergirl, then we move into another fucking Minions movie. I know, we got another Minions movie, but hey, I'm just going down a list of movies that I think are going to be high earners this year. This is not specifically movies that I'm interested in. If it was, Minions wouldn't be on this goddamn list, but hey, here we are. The Minions movie do pretty good at the box office. It just is what it is. For this one, if I had to put my guess on it, I'm saying, and this is called Minions and Monsters, by the way. That's the title of the movie. But I'm thinking this one makes $600-700 million. Once again, that's not a billion, but that's still cool. We're talking about the highest grossing year of all time. All these movies don't have to be $1 billion movies, but they do have to do pretty good if we're going to go with my assumption, my prediction that this could be one of the highest grossing years, if not the highest grossing years of all time. So Minions is definitely going to help and bump that. So moving on from Minions and Monsters, then we have DC's Clayface. Now, this one is a little tricky. I threw this one as a little curveball. I don't think this one is going to go completely crazy at the box office. I don't. But I also didn't think The Joker, which came out in 2019 and was on that top list, of movies that, were the highest earners of that year. So Joker made 1.07 billion. Nobody thought that movie was gonna make that much money. I damn sure didn't. If I had to put my life on, I would have said maybe 400 or 500 million, if that, and I would have been dead as hell. But it is what it is. How I would have been wrong. But Clayface, from what I'm hearing, is gonna be very similar to the Joker as far as the seriousness and doing more of like a character study of this. And if any of you guys know Clayface from the Batman comic books, he's a Batman villain, by the way, if you didn't know. But if you guys know Clayface and they're saying this is going to be like a body horror type of movie, Clayface is the perfect character to do something like that for. So I'm thinking if the movie knocks it out of the park as far as how it's portrayed and made, and I honestly don't even know who the director is right now, but marketing is going to be very important for that movie too. But if they knock it out of the park, like I'm hearing this movie just might, Clayface might be a sleeper this year. So, hey, don't forget about that one. And then the last one, of course, is Project Hail Mary. I know that movie has already released, but Project Hail Mary is the reason I even came up with this episode, with the idea for this episode that is in the first place. Because I predicted that it was going to make north of 80 million. But if you guys do remember, I did say, hopefully. I wouldn't have bet my money on it, but I did guess, $80 million. And it's still climbing. So we'll see how this weekend does. Like I said, I'm predicting. Fuck it, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I think Project Hail Mary has a 30 to 40% drop off this weekend, and that's only because the word of mouth has been so good. And I do know that there is a lot of people, just who I talked to personally, who listen to the podcast and say, you know what, I didn't know what Project Hail Mary was, but after listening to your episode, I'm definitely gonna go check it out. And they didn't get a chance to do it the first weekend. So a lot of people just personally have told me that they're going to catch it this weekend. And I don't think they're alone. I think a lot of people are going to do the same exact thing. So I'm saying Project Hail Mary is going to be another movie on this list to bump it up. Bump this year's, overall gross up and maybe be able to compete with 2019 or even surpass it. Okay, so that's all my thoughts on why 2026 could potentially, possibly be the highest grossing year of all time. I'll go back over the list one more time. So we got Avengers Doomsday. We got Spider-Man Brand New Day. Super Mario Galaxy. The Odyssey. Dune 3. Toy Story 5. Michael. And my big sleeper, The Devil Wears Prada 2. Like I said, these are going to be the movies that lead the rest of the honorable mentions and bump this year up to, you know what? I'm just come out and say it. Y'all can bookmark this and come back to this later on, and maybe January next year. I'm saying it. Fuck it. 2026 is going to be the highest grossing year in box office history. Book it. You heard it here first. You heard it from Loose. I'm stamping it. I'm putting my flag in the ground, bro. It is what it is. I'm saying 2026 is going to do it. And I hope that y'all, help this year get to that finish line. I really do. Like a lot of these movies, I'm not interested in all of them, but a lot of these, like I would suggest them. Like Dune 3, you got to see it. The Odyssey, Michael. I'm even saying The Devil Wears Prada 2 from seeing the original one, this past weekend. Like I really would suggest a lot of these films, just like I did last week. I'm not just blowing smoke up y'all ass and just saying, oh, this movie's gonna be this movie. No, I would personally suggest these just based off of the things that I know as far as the creators attached to them, producers, directors, actors, cast, everything, scripts. Some of these I've even heard, the synopsis of what we're gonna be expecting in these movies. And if I thought it was some bullshit, if I thought it was some hogwash, I wouldn't even put these on the list. And that's just being honest with you guys. But yeah, fuck it. I'm putting my flag in the ground. I'm saying 2026 will end up being the highest grossing year in box office history. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I don't think I'm gonna be, cause I rarely ever am. I'm just bullshitting. I'll be wrong a lot, bro. It is what it is, but that's my prediction. So that's gonna close this episode out. I really appreciate you guys, showing love and listening to the last two episodes. This has been way more fun than I thought it would be. I'm always just rambling and, talking people's head off about movies who probably don't even give a damn. It is what it is. But I just figured, if I have a love for this and I love film as much as I do, once again, appreciate your pops for even taking me to the movies back in the day and, getting me to experience something like that. This is something I'll, take with me hopefully into the next lifetime. I'll be able to watch movies in heaven somewhere. I don't know, goddamn. But I'll pass it on to my kids if I have them one day. But until then, I just want to pass on my love for movies to you guys. And I hope that you guys can reciprocate and pass it on to somebody else and learn something from what I'm rambling about like I am now. But anyway, that's going to close off this episode. It did run a little long. We're already at the 30-minute mark, which is already longer than the last episode. But like I said, I really appreciate y'all tuning in. And I'm going to just end it here. So until next time, peace.